Should we do our
Let's
draft
do
of
it.
drafts?
Let's get into it. This is what we're doing. Let's end the show the only way we know how, which is with some dumb stuff that no one else in sports media would dare touch. And
Yes.
in this case, in honor of the NFL draft, which has been around since, you know what we should do to. I honestly don't know when the first NFL draft was. We should, to decide what the first pick of the NFL draft or of our draft is. We should guess when the original year of the NFL. When was the first
Okay.
NFL draft? What year?
Okay.
And
I'm ready.
I'll set the. What do we do it this way? Because like it's just going to be a Price is Right situation. No matter
No,
what
no,
you
no.
say, I'll just
No,
say
no,
1
no.
year older. What if I just set the over under and then you
Nope.
pick?
I
What?
want because I'm gonna guess a year.
You're gonna
I
get
want
on
to
the
guess a year.
nose?
Yep. 1932.
Okay. Wow, 1932. Wow, that feels right.
I don't know.
My guess is also 1932.
You can't do that.
So looks like we tied. Okay, next coin flip maybe. No, I'm
Do you
gonna
think?
say.
Okay, I'm gonna say 1932, and you say before or after.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
if you're right,
I'm gonna say after. I'm gonna
Okay.
say like a few years after, but the 30s makes sense. So I'll look it up right now. First
okay.
NFL draft, 1936.
Ah,
Let's go.
shit. 1932 felt really right. Okay,
Let's
fine. Go first.
All right, so I gotta
you
go
big
first.
dummy.
All right, so the NFL draft, 1936. It's been around forever. It is a tradition in American sports, but it is not, as we know, the only draft that exists. So today, what we are doing is we are drafting our favorite drafts.
And this is
It's
in
that
honor
simple.
of our goat debate.
Yes.
We did a goat debate, so we have to do a draft.
Okay, so I gotta pull up my big board here because I gotta see what I'm working with. All right, the thing about drafts, I want to say this is that you got to think about what the other person wants to do as well,
Oh yeah.
because you don't.
Oh,
you
I
got to
did.
think of like value picks and like, you know, if I believe that Trey Lance is the best quarterback in this draft and I'm the 49ers, I don't take him at 3. I trade down because he's going to be available later. You know what I mean? Like these are the things you have to think about. You can't just. So with that in mind, my first pick, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take the NBA draft as my number 1 pick. It was not number 1 on my big board, but I feel like it might be high on your big board. I am taking NBA draft, and the reason why it's the first one, for me, the NBA draft is better than the NFL draft. It's not because I like basketball more than football. It's because there's a lot of elements at play here, Charlotte. Number 1, it's all one night. It begins and ends all in the same night. Number 2, the trajectory of an NBA franchise can turn on a dime if you draft the right guy. Whereas in
Yeah.
NFL, the wheels turn slower and you need to like hit a couple good draft picks. You got to hire the right coach. It's a very,
And the wheels usually come off before they go fast.
yes. But on NBA draft night, if you're an NBA fan, you're crossing your fingers. If we hit the right guy tonight, next year our team could be much, much better and much more fun in the snap of a finger. And that's not always true of the NFL. Number 3, the fashion. The NBA guys have better fashion, or at least they think they do. And they show out in ways that the NFL guys don't quite get there. Some of the NFL guys try their best. Ezekiel Elliott had the crop top and, you know, they get crazy with it. But the NBA guys are an entirely different breed. And number 4, you have Knicks fans booing every single pick at the NBA draft. So I think you put it all together. The NBA draft to me is the superior television experience as a sports fan. Even though football is more popular in this country, even though football, the NFL had the first draft before the NBA draft came along, I assume. I believe that the NBA draft is more fun for those reasons. So I'm taking the number 1.
Okay.
There
I
you go.
respect your pick. Then at number 2, I'm going to take the NFL draft.
Wow. Okay.
Because
wow.
I truly, as we talked about, I love NFL draft season so much. And in the past, when we've been more able to go places, I've done some hilariously fun things for the NFL draft. Like when the Giants were picking 3rd, and I was at Sports Illustrated, my coworker Jessica Smetana and I went to Triona's, this bar in the West Village, and we captured a Giants fan on camera having an absolute meltdown when they took Daniel Jones and things like that. it's just like the beauty of like fans. It's the pure raw emotion.
Yeah.
But it's also that the NFL draft is hilarious to me because it is a 3-day long television show where you are watching executives make decisions off of spreadsheets. And that is, to me, probably the funniest possible, most ridiculous. And and fans go. When it's not COVID, like fans go to watch their team make a personnel decision. That would be like showing up and throwing a party when your boss at your marketing firm is like, we are adding not 1, not 2, but maybe 3 to 5 new guys in the IT department. And everyone's like, yes, oh my God.
Yeah, one guy's booing. One guy's like, no.
And the CEO like gives a new employee a hug and everyone's like, we hate you. Like it's just really beautiful and pure in the stupidest way. So I'm going to go number 1, NFL draft.
The NFL draft's also like a war of attrition as a fan of you and your buddies sit down to watch the NFL draft. Everyone can do night 1. A lot of people can do night 2. Are you watching the 7th round? Are you a real fan like I am?
Right. Right.
As a reminder, by the way, I forgot about this until this morning. Do you remember that the NFL draft last year was supposed to be in Vegas and they were going to, at the Bellagio fountain, have like a boat bring the guys? What? Is the biggest winner in I don't even want to say it, but it's like that is something that'll be lost in the annals of time. Is like COVID ruined that, and I think if that happens, it is the most absurd thing we have ever seen. That guys are coming out on a boat in the Bellagio fountain. What?
I gotta say that
aloud is insane.
Not a single day goes by that I don't think about that. When I was doing the deal with Fox, my first big pitch was going to be, I am going to try to be the boat driver who drives the guys because I have a boating license. I know what I'm doing. Right. If I can't be the driver, because I doubt they'll do that, maybe we can, because Fox is football. Like we've got some access when it comes to the NFL. Maybe there would be a way to get me onto the boat where we could do a video piece and I could write about being on the boat that drove the prospects out to the state. Like that, when COVID hit, my first thought was, oh my God, I hope my family and I don't die and the people I love are okay. And I hope this isn't awful. And my second thought was, I am devastated that I can't do the boat pitch. I'm dead serious. Like I think about that. I truly think about that like probably once a day or every other day.
That's it just speaks to the absurdity of the NFL draft. I mean, it is, and it's also speaking earlier of your Giants fan. I do think that NFL fandom is more personal. It is more like your identity is wrapped. There are more people, like obviously more people like football in this country than basketball, but the percentage of football fans that have a tattoo of their favorite football team on their body is far higher than the percentage of basketball fans that have a tattoo of their, you know what I mean? Like it's part of your soul cheering for the Giants. And so it means more if they draft, say, a Daniel Jones and you don't love the pick. It feels like less of like my football team sucks, and it's more of like this is an attack on me as a person, as a human being.
It is a personal attack, and I also think that NFL fans in general think that they're smarter than the GMs and the front office. I think NBA fans admit that guys like Daryl Morey do math better than they do, so they're like kind of okay with trusting the front office. And NFL fans truly think that if you put them in the war room, they would make a better decision than like Steve Keim.
I really do think so.
And it's incredible, and I love it. So that's my number 1 pick. I mean, number 2 pick.
My number 2, I'm going to kick off the second round with, I'm going to say, let me look at the big board here again. I'm trying to think of like maybe taking things you might take. I'm going to say in-person fantasy football. In-person fantasy football draft. Online, get it out of my face. Not for me. I am very much a round 2. I don't even play fantasy football anymore, but I somehow get stuck doing my friends' drafts for them. And because like I have friends that are in like 12 leagues, and then they're like, dude, can you do like my 7th league? Can you do the draft for me? And I'm like,
that's
sure,
hilarious.
it'll be fun.
I didn't know that. I thought that was just like basketball stuff for you.
No, I agree to do it because I'm like, yeah, it'll scratch my itch. Like I can kind of like get to know like who the guys that are highly valued in fantasy or whatever, and then
Right.
that way I can like, if I need to know that information, I can have it, but then I don't have to actually like do fantasy football.
I don't do it either, by the way. And I like read mock fantasy drafts so that if I have to for my job, I know what I'm talking about, but I can't stand fantasy football.
Fantasy football is it's very, very frustrating, but online drafts are stupid. I do one every single year from one of my friends, and I inevitably by round 3 have just clicked the auto draft. I'm like, this isn't half as fun as I want it to be, and then I just kind of let it ride. In person's fun though. Like you go to a bar, you all get together, you go to a buddy's house, and you do it in person, and it's just like guys being dudes for the most part. At least that's what my leagues have always been when I've done in-person fantasy drafts. And it's less about like drafting and more about just hanging out with the dudes and the fellas. And I guess every so often there's maybe someone's wife is in the league and she'll show up. And but I don't know. I've only done it twice, but it was always like a ton of fun. And it's just like and you can like boo in person someone's pick, and you can like punch guys in the arm if they take a guy that you wanted. And the whole scene is great, and I love it. And that's why it's number 2.
Okay.
In-person fantasy
Okay.
football. Yeah.
Okay. I dig it. My pick, is this the number? What pick
This
is
would be
this?
number 2. This would be number 2. Yep.
Okay.
This is second.
My number 2 pick is a good final draft.
Okay.
Like if I've written something that I am happy with and I have a final draft of it that I know is going to be the thing that gets published and I'm not embarrassed or worried about what the internet's going to think, it is an amazing feeling because I'm like, I did my job. I did it well. I don't think I'm going to get yelled at on the internet. I think my bosses are going to be happy because I'm doing stuff and we might get clicks for this. And it means that I have completed something and I don't have to keep writing it. And that is one of my favorite feelings. And I'm not quite yet. Not enough time has passed that I'm freaking out about what the next thing I'm going to write is. Like the moment I'm done, I'm like, we did it.
It is a very rare feeling to be done writing something and go back and read it and be like, this doesn't suck. Wow.
Yeah, or you're like, this kind of slaps. Like
This is like I'm not
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
This is not bad. Like wow, I killed it there. And then yeah, I know what you mean. It's been a long
Yeah.
time since I've had that feeling, but I
Same,
remember
Mark.
those days. So
I'm doing a reaction piece off of the draft, especially if the Pats, trade up and do something nuts. And I'm like, I really hope I don't hate this when it's done, but there's a good chance I do. All right, you go.
all right, final draft is good. I am going to with my third
But
pick.
but no, wait, sorry. A good final
A good
draft.
final draft. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
A good final draft. Bad
Yep.
final drafts aren't as good as good
I
final
hate
drafts.
bad final drafts.
For my number 3 pick, I'm gonna go with draft beer. I think draft beer is the superior beer. I know this has become I don't know. In the circles I run in, there was a period of time where craft beer was like that was all the rage. I have since like aged out of that. I think like I've gotten old enough to where I'm like, just give me a Coors Light. Like I do enjoy. I understand that it doesn't taste
Or perhaps a Dos Equis.
or a Dos Equis. I understand it does not taste as good as the craft beer that has 700 calories in it and has been handled with care for whatever. I understand that. I just want to like hammer some beers on the beach, so whatever.
Yep.
But the new debate, or like it's not really a debate, but it's just like the talking point is like, if you do say give me a Dos Equis or a Coors Light, and they say we have it on tap, we have it in bottles, we have it in cans, which one would you like? I always take draft. And some people, the cans had a moment there, Charlotte, for a while. People swore by cans being better. People have sworn by bottles being better.
Yep.
I still like the draft, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people that write in and say like, don't do draft beers because I worked at a bar and we don't ever clean the taps and we don't ever clean the hoses and this and that and like that's why cans are better. Just get a can and a glass, pop the can, pour it into the glass. That's the best way to do it. I say you're wrong. I say all of that flavor from the hose that you haven't cleaned in 7 years, that is part of the experience. I want to taste that in my beer. I want to build my immune system.
Okay, I was going to say, I just read an article in the New York Times that says if we sanitize too much, we're going to screw our immune systems over. Bacteria can be good. So, yeah, I'm with you.
All of you that are getting the COVID vaccine and have adverse reactions to it, it's probably because you were not slamming draft beers. Yeah, you weren't going to college bars that haven't cleaned their lines ever in 30 years of existing and slamming cheap beers. And I think that's why my immune system is superior. And that's that.
If you ever drank a draft beer from Mainly Brews in Waterville, Maine, don't worry about what's in the vaccine.
Yeah, that's the joke format. I forgot. Yeah, there you go. Don't worry about what's in the vaccine.
Okay, this is the first one. So this is the first one I'm a little bummed about because I thought about taking it higher, but I probably Well, you know what? Live and learn. Back to the big board. I also love a draft beer, like going to a bar and sitting down and like the bar is like gross and sweaty and someone gives you this like cold. I really want to go to a bar. Okay, anyway, in that vein, I am gonna take a draft. Wait. Hold on. I need to look at this. I need to reverse psychology you for a second. Okay,
Think
you know
about
what,
it, Charlotte?
I don't know. I think my next two top picks are going to be safe here. So I'm going to go with a draft nitro cold brew. The only thing more satisfying to me than a draft beer is the kind of iced coffee that comes out of a tap that's a little frothy, that is like injecting straight energy into your veins. It like makes your heart palpitate, but it's different from it. Like there's some sort of foaminess to it from the tap that makes it so good.
And it's just coffee. It's not like a latte.
But it's like with nitrate gas or something, so that it makes it sort of like, I don't understand, Mark. I don't know.
You're having a cup of coffee and a Whippet at the same time. Yeah. That's what you're talking.
Remember when we had a whole joke about Whippets that we had to cut out from one podcast?
It wasn't a joke. It was me.
Right. Sorry, you're right.
It was me sharing a story.
Right. We had to cut that out. Anyway, moving on. What's your pick?
So you're a cold brew person. I got into coffee, as I've told you, during the pandemic, and I'm strictly I've only ever had black coffee that's hot. That's it. That's all I've ever had.
No. It's special. So every morning I prefer hot coffee, but if it's like 2 p.m. and I have it's nice out and I go for a walk and I need a little pick me up, a cold brew is like an iced coffee is just. It's a special treat for me.
Okay. All right.
I'm such a loser.
I like it. The people. Cold brew does feel like the next evolution of coffee, and that people were like a lot of friends would be like, I'm running to Starbucks. Do you need anything? And I would say I don't drink coffee. And they'd be like, what? You don't what? How?
Right. And then you're like,
so now that I drink coffee,
yeah.
It's still not enough, and I feel like the next, those same friends are like, dude, hot coffee? What is this, like 1974? Are you a receptionist for Don Draper, dude? Like, what are you doing drinking black hot? Like, come on, dude. You got to drink the nitro.
Awful.
Yeah. Yes. So I feel the urge to drink the cold brew, but at the same time, I'm like, that's not like, because
give it a try. Try a draft nitro cold brew. You'll be wired.
That doesn't feel like for me, it's the aesthetic play. This is the draft beer thing too, is like, it's not about the taste of the beer. It's about the aesthetic. It's about Sam Malone hitting the tap, sliding the beer down to Norm at the corner of, the corner bar seat. Like, that's the whole visual. That's the aesthetic I want to feel with the draft beer. That's what I want with the coffee too, is the pot. You got the guy coming. You got the lady coming around at the diner with 2 pots. You want decaf or the real stuff? And I'm like, come on, lady. And she's like, and then she pours that's what I want, Charlotte. So anyway.
Yes, I know. But hear me out, Mark. The cold brew version can also be that, because there's like a layer of foaminess at the top, and you have it on a hot day, and you're holding it walking down the street, and you don't have to finish it, but you just have it. And it's something to hold, and it's like an activity to do, or an excuse to go for a walk. Like, trust me, there is an aesthetic play that you will discover when you're older.
All right. When I'm older than you are.
I know.
All right, moving on. My fourth pick in this draft. I cannot believe this is still on the board. This should have been number one. This was number one on my big board. I didn't think you'd take it though. So this is
It better not be my next pick.
This is my fourth pick is the drafting of the United States Constitution by James Madison.
Are you kidding me? That wasn't even on my list.
One of the all-time great drafts. He did not write the Constitution, Charlotte. He drafted it. It is a document that, as we know, has not needed to be changed at all since he wrote it.
I am losing it.
It was a very perfect piece of literature. It has been amended. That does not mean changed. That means amended. We've touched it up a few times. But if you want to change it now in 2021, you hate America. So don't you dare talk like that, because we do not change James Madison's great piece of work. No, there's some. What is the line of demarcation where things are no longer written, they are drafted? What year was that? It's got to be sometime in like the 1800s where they're still drafted today?
I think official documents are still drafted.
Oh, okay. So it's a legal setting. You're still drafting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I do feel like back in the day in the 1700s, you're drafting everything. Like if you're just writing, if you had a quill pen and like a scroll and you were just drawing a dick and you're gonna roll it up and like hand it to your friend, you would still say, "I drafted this dick for you." You know, like I still think the terminology was like, "I drafted this."
That was funny, Mark. That was really funny. I didn't see that coming. You got me on that. Well, you know why? It's because they wrote on things called drafting tables.
There you go.
And architects still use drafting tables. And a drafting table is actually on my big board, but I don't want to take it. Right. I want to take, my next pick is how much a ship drafts. Which means
I know what this means. I'm a sailor.
Right, because you're a sailor now. Which means this is one of my favorite things in the world, is knowing how much of a boat exists beneath the water. It's the depth of the water needed to float a ship. So if the part of the boat underneath the water, say the keel is 8 feet, you're gonna need a 9-foot draft. Like the draft is it's because otherwise it's grounded. And as someone who has hit many rocks with many motorboats, I get very excited when a boat has a very low draft. Like if you're in a little skiff, a little motorboat that has like a 1-foot draft, you don't really have to worry about too much unless something's sticking up out of the water. If you have a boat with maybe like 5 or 6 feet, I have really done some huge boatical damage before. So, I'm such a nerd about boats that I love knowing what a boat, I'm like, what is that draft? You know, like how much is that? You know, like it's a really great question to ask someone who just bought a boat.
Great question. Also, if you're a newbie sailor like I am, to come across as a poser, like when I rent sailboats, when I'm up in Santa Barbara and I'm taking a boat out, I'll step on the boat and I'll turn around to like the guy who runs the joint. I'm like, yeah, what's the draft on this thing again?
Exactly.
And he'll tell me, and I say that as though I have any idea like what the layout of the harbor is. Like I know the clearance at any point within the harbor. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, 6 feet, cool, got it.
And he's like, do you know where the ledges are? And you're like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. That does me no good. But
yeah. So that's my next pick.
It also feels like some Aunt Char, when she's doing summer camp and she's teaching these kids how to sail, she would use the draft of the boat as some sort of analogy for life, to be like you should write a children's book about a boat that had a big draft and there's a lot going on under the water and everyone took it for granted and it looked like a small boat up top, but it actually had a lot of power underneath the water. And like you tell your kids this as you're teaching these 8-year-olds how to sail. You're reading, you're doing you have like a children's book that you're showing the pictures.
That's so cute. That's like the cutest thing I've ever heard. Oh, I love it. And it can be like, you never, don't judge a book by its cover, but also like there can be another boat that has a really small draft and it's doing great too, because it can just skim over life's problems but they're still friends and different people can be.
Oh. And there's the lesson to be learned in there. And yeah, I don't know. You'd have to, if you're going to title a children's book, you have to come up with an adjective and then an animal or a noun or like the Like we could do it.
Like the
It
little
really is like
engine
an
that
ad-lib.
could.
Yeah, it's the grumpy monkey or like the angry octopus.
Yeah.
And like that's the title. Also a good way to title a sports bar, by the way. I found like you do like the
Wow. You could, because
Hungry
like
Horse, and it's like, yeah, that's a great bar. Meet me at the Hungry Horse. You know?
oh my God. Yeah. Wait, now I'm thinking about all these bars that actually are that exact.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's sports bar or children's book. You just do like the agitated frog. I guess agitated is probably a little too.
Hey, meet me at the Frog.
The drunk frog.
Which one? Oh, the agitated frog
one.
in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll write a sports book, a children's book about
Okay,
boats.
that's what we can really do and make money off of.
It's a great idea. It's the Uber of children's books.
How many more rounds are we
This
gonna
is
go?
the final round. This is
Okay.
it. This is a for my final pick. I'm doing this draft that you and I are doing. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you should have. I'm gonna.
There you go. It's not a bad idea for your final pick. My final pick. Yeah, why not? Let's get stupid. My final pick is the 2006 Indy 500 when Sam Hornish drafted Marco Andretti coming out of turn 4 and catapulted himself to a come-from-behind victory at the very last second to beat Marco Andretti. Is that what you had?
Shut up, Mark. My last pick was going to be drafting off of someone. Are you? I saved that for last because I was like, Mark is not going to have this one. What the act?
Let's go.
I was going to take that at number 1, and then I was like, no, I can save that.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid. Sam Hornish, 2006 Indy 500. Go watch the finish. It's Marco Andretti. There's an Andretti curse at Indy at IMS with Indy 500, and Marco Andretti was running his first Indy 500. He was in the lead. His father was in third, I believe, and then Sam Hornish passes the dad, and then it's like Sam Hornish versus Marco Andretti, and then Marco runs like one of the worst final laps ever and has taken all the corners wrong and is very sloppy. Sam Hornish catches up. And then going into turn 4, Hornish just like drafts right behind him, and then at the very last stretch, just goes whoop and goes right around him, wins the race. Sam Hornish Jr., 2006. That's my final pick. Good luck, Charlotte.
I am like, so mine was gonna be. This is too similar to yours. This is gonna count because I was like, my favorite thing in the world is if you're behind someone in a boat and you can draft off of their wake, you can like plane out and go super super fast. Or if you're like, I used to swim a lot, and if you're behind someone in a lane, like it's a lot easier, and it's the greatest feeling in the world because you're going pretty fast, but you're not working. It's like one of those people movers in the airport where you're walking the normal pace you do, but you feel like you're going really fast. God damn it, Mark! I should have known that we'd had like the weirdest one would be the same one that we had. All right, well, okay, I'm gonna take. I truly cannot believe that. Okay, I'm torn between, I'm going to take the NHL Expansion Draft. Because I think it is so funny,
That's
the players, when teams have to make players available.
Right.
For other teams, it's like the rudest thing in the world. Being like, it would be like if Fox Digital, if our boss Mike Buckland was like, okay, well, they're starting a new property, so we've got to farm some people off, and we're gonna make Mark Titus and Charlotte Wilder available, and we'd be like, are you kidding me?
No, he's like, yeah, Titus is available. Charlotte, no, hands off Charlotte. You cannot have Charlotte. And then, yeah, you can have him.
And I'm like, okay, well, now I don't have a podcast, and like, it really screws it. Like, yeah. So, and I also just think it's funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I watched the NHL Expansion Draft in, let's get specific. The 2017 NHL Expansion Draft, because that's when they gave Vegas a team. And I remember watching it and being like, there is no way this team is going to be good. And then they made it to the Stanley Cup. So that's why I love the NHL Expansion Draft, because it's the only draft where you can be like, there is no way this is going to work. And then it's like, well, surprise.
Surprise. It works. That's a good one. I like that.
Thanks.
That's a good sub. I'm sorry I took your pick, but at the same time, that's how drafts work, baby.
No, that's how.
So,
That's showbiz.
Hey pals, thanks for watching the People Sports Podcast YouTube channel. For more of mine and Mark's very weird rabbit holes, stick around, watch more. You can subscribe, smash that subscribe button. You know you want to. We're going to give you all the weird stuff we possibly can.